What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let me say thank you. Thank you, good people, for keeping me sane. I just finished doing my live stream. And just before the live stream happened, Jerry Jones had finally made it to Indianapolis for the combine. For Jerry, because of the bad weather that's been happening in Dallas and across the South and so on. In fact, I'm getting some of that storm right now here. It's pouring down rain, which is kind of fitting right now. I have to say, I don't feel reassured by what I've heard with all of the Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones on the Cowboys bus talking, and Jerry did a lot of talking here. Basically, Jerry Jones is bringing the band back together. He's gone on and said, it's premature to talk about Tony Pollard and him getting the tag because we're still working on that. But basically, if they don't get the deal done, he's getting tagged, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But then he also turned around and said, but we got Zeke Elliott, and of course, between those two guys, the feeling I had going into the playoffs, I felt good about both of them. So he's talking about bringing back Zeke. He also talked about Dak Prescott, and he says, I got confidence in Dak Prescott that, there's nothing on the field. He said, if there was something on, he said, there's injuries and things. He said, what can you do about that? Well, maybe you have a good offensive line to help make sure that your quarterback's not running for his life, but be that as it may. He said, if I were to see anything on the field that would say he can't play, then I would be looking towards the future. He said, but we don't see that. We know that he's going to be playing for a lot more years. So he's saying that Dak is playing good. But then he went on to say, when I look at what we had for him when, surrounding him his rookie year, when, before he got paid, the talent that we had, of course, you can't do that now because, of course, he's gotten paid. But here's my problem with this is, you had 4 years of the cheapest starting quarterback in the NFL. Your punter made more money than Dak Prescott in some of those years. 4 years. You had 4 years. So when you start talking about, we can't surround Dak with talent now. You had the opportunity to do that with Dak when he was on the rookie contract, but you didn't. Those guys that you had on the offensive line, those were the holdovers from back when you had him with Tony Romo. Jason Witten was getting old. Des Bryant was getting old. The offensive line started having problems because, if I remember correctly, not a single year, excuse me, I'm literally choking on this, not a single year of Dak Prescott's career with the Dallas Cowboys has Tyron Smith made it through the whole season. That is a fact. You have the Hillian-Barr syndrome and Zach Martin. Now, Zach Martin has been all world. We've been in transition on this offensive line, and it's not anywhere near where it was. You lost Des Bryant, and you didn't replace him until you ended up getting Amari Cooper. You had Jason Witten, who was on the tail end of his career. But here's the thing that's kind of crazy, because we talk about bringing back Tyron Smith, talk about bringing back Zeke, talk about bringing back Tony Pollard. But then, after being sold on the idea that the Cowboys were going to be making a big move, he says, we're going to be reliant on younger guys this year. Younger guys. But if there's a move that we can make that will definitely help us, we would do that. So after hearing from Stephen Jones and crew and saying that, we're going to add more firepower to our offense, that we would be looking at and understanding that we need more around Dak, Jerry Jones basically threw it out there that, we can't do that. Now, my only hope is this. My hope out here is this, that Jerry Jones is just being Jerry and saying whatever's on his mind because he finally got to town, that the cold front is now in Indianapolis from Dallas, and that Stephen Jones with Will McClay and Mike McCarthy are really making the decisions on what the Cowboys are going to do. Jerry Jones is all over the place with this conversation. All over the place. And I literally feel like deja vu. That we are literally in the same spot we were last year. We believe in Jalen Tolbert. When you pay a guy $21 million, you expect certain things. We're going to rely on young talent. I feel like I remember a company that was in business for a long time, had been the king of the mountain. And I remember what this company was so arrogant about. When it was suggested to them that they needed to do things differently because things had changed. And the people in that company basically said, but we are blah, 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 blah. We are the oldest at doing blah, 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 blah. We don't do that. Because we are that good. Thing is the people that told them that they needed to change and evolve were right. Because now that company is doing a slow dive to death. It doesn't matter what you used to do. Everything changes. It does. As a kid, I couldn't call more than 30 miles away because it was a long distance call. And I was being charged as I used the rotary phone. That involved to a touchtone phone. That involved into cell phone, or actually pagers, and then to cell phones. And now, my cell phone that's here, that's taking video that I can send around the world. Yeah. Shit changes. And if you're still the guy that's trying to sell the rotary phone because you were the top dog back then, you're out of business now. You're forgotten. You must evolve with everything else that's going on. And that's my problem with the Cowboys right now. They don't understand. They're not evolving with the changing dynamics of the game. My battery's about to die on here. It's been a long day. And I'm going to say what I always say. Tell the people you love them. You might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. Peace.